saying it every single time. That little voice in my head goes, why, Sakurai? Why does it scoot from all the way upstate? The setup for down air. Will he get it? Yes, he will! Cosmos is in Winners Grand Final. Next one will absolutely take care of it, especially with wing out. But Cosmos is your MSM champion! Gets the up smash out of nowhere! Fights it! And he's going to Summit! That's right, Cosmos is your LCQ champion.
Alright, what's up guys? So Cosmos, you won.
I did win.
You qualified for Summit.
Yeah.
Now
I woke up surprised. Like it didn't hit me until I woke up.
Yeah, you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm here for a whole week.
Yeah, we're about to drive up there. But before we head out, I mean, you've definitely talked about this before with a lot of other players, obviously. But yeah, I mean, so now that you've really competed with the character for a decent amount of time, right? Like, how do you feel about the character? Obviously, the character has really big strengths, but the recovery a very big weakness, right?
Yeah.
So kind of like weighing those two out, where would you, do you think the character is like a top 5 character? I feel like people put her there, and then other people kind of feel like she's overrated, right?
I've seen a lot of people say that they don't even think she's top 15, honestly.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm very surprised when I see stuff like that. But like it was actually like kind of recently that I had like I was just playing one day and I had a realization like I was playing. I think I was fighting against the Joker, and I was like, honestly, like for some reason I just feeling like this character has the potential to just be as good as Joker. Like that can be kind of crazy, but like they have like very like specific similarities that like it's like when you're fighting against the character, like you feel like a similar pressure, like maybe in a different way, but right. You feel like a similar kind of like force that you're like fighting against. So that's why I kind of feel like the character can be like on the same like, because like people usually put like Joker Pikachu like in like a tier of
very common top 2.
Yeah, and then like they like put a separate tier for like the next 8 or whatever characters. But I feel like at this point I'm starting to feel like Pyra and Mythra can be in that top 3 now.
Right. So the same tier, maybe like order doesn't really matter at that point.
I'm still not really like it really doesn't matter like whenever you're in that top 3, because it's like in my opinion that top 3 is like you can basically like you have some bad matchups, but you don't have like any matchup that you're like really stressed about when you're fighting like that character. Right. And then like the other characters under that, like you have specific matchups that you're like, I don't want to play against this character. I might consider using a secondary for like 1 or 2 matchups, which could be like the characters in the top 3, pretty much. So I feel like Pyra and Mythra don't really have like a matchup that would be as stressful like as the other characters, because she has like really good neutral that can pretty much fight against every character. And like like of course the recovery is like a big thing, because like it's kind of like Smash for a Cloud, where like you just get thrown off stage and like you have the potential chance to be edge guarded and like just reversaled. It's like a thing where it's like her neutral is like much better than Smash for a Cloud, that it's really hard to be put in that position anyways.
And that recovery is better than
it's definitely much better. It's like almost as good as Smash for like Limit Cloud, but not as good.
Right. And I even throughout this weekend, I saw obviously people are still getting better at edgeguarding Mythra side B. I feel like that's the one that like people flub the most. Mm-hmm. But Pyra's snap on her up B, like it's obviously really you can still 2-frame it, but it feels pretty solid. Like if someone 2-frames, like
it's really good, because there's a lot of mix-up potential.
Timing,
like, timing for
how far you can go out, and like she'll like snap like horizontal.
And it's like
snap.
even whenever like even when you're like, when they're expecting you to go low, you can like not be at the position where you can get 2-framed, and you can just like go above the ledge slightly and then drift forward and then snap the ledge on the way down. So like she has a lot of mix-up potential that like Smash 4 Cloud didn't really have, because like if you tried to do that you would just fall, because you wouldn't be able to snap on your way down for like the first half or something. Right. So her recovery is a lot better. Like having the switch is very beneficial, because you can switch through a lot of attacks and projectiles. Mm-hmm. So it's like a mini Smash 4 air dodge that you can just spam. Right. So it's very nice to have that, because you get to keep your air dodge.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I noticed that you were doing very well is in the MSM, the qualifying MSM for Summit, you would switch and line up your switch, so it would be like, oh, I'm going to switch into my Mythra side B, like that's the timing you would go for the switch, and then your opponent has to like fade back because you don't want to challenge that side B horizontally unless you're gonna like shield unshield something, and even then if Mythra sweet spots it's pretty hard. Like Fox cannot drop shield down smash if a Mythra perfectly side B snaps. Yeah. But like if she does it a little too high, Fox can get it, right? So you want to position either like you want to fade back or go vertically and like Falcon down air it or something like that, right? That we saw Fatality do it a couple times, right? So you've kind of forced your opponent into a position where they want to cover the Mythra side B. Then you would switch to Mythra and then just switch immediately in the Pyra and then just go for the upbeat drop zone. So it's like that was a very interesting like 50-50. And another thing too is you do keep your drift. So you like you said, you have multiple air dodges, right? Yeah. And so you can switch and then go into an air dodge. And then even like Pyra, if you're like pretty close to the stage, you can like cover yourself with side B, stuff like that. So I do think people need to get better at edge guarding the character, but I also think Mythra and Pyra players are getting more creative with their recoveries and really like expanding on the fact that like where can you go for like these switch mix-ups, right?
It's also a weird thing because like that like 50-50 that you were talking about, like switching, like being in position to like side B and like forcing them in a specific position, it's like a 50-50, but it's a 50-50 that's in your favor, because it's like you can switch and then you immediately see them like position themselves to punish
low.
Punish low, and then that's when you can like, all right, just press B again because you're like already holding down.
Right.
So it's like it's a 50-50 that's in your favor because you can react to what they do and switch accordingly, and it's much harder for them to react fast enough after your like second switch to like reposition themselves for the other character.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have that amount of distance to either like instantly pull the trigger on the Mythra side B if you feel like they're coming out and threatening you. So it kind of forces them to at least go for like some kind of pump fake or something, right? Like run down, like double jump up, and be like, okay.
That's when it becomes like it's like a very like intricate.
But they got to earn it.
Yes, exactly.
Right. It's not like no air dodge 50-50 or whatever, right? Yeah. Like some Smash 4 down throw stuff, or you know what I mean? There's definitely layers upon layers in the edge guard. So, you know, me and Cosmos, we used to argue whose recovery was better, Fox or Mythra. But
I'm glad I finally got you, bro.
You got it.
I got you, bro.
You got it.
You owe me $5.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the character's so neutral based too, right?
Yes.
So obviously, like Mythra, neutral based monster. I wouldn't say I don't even think Mythra does a ton of damage. She like does a decent amount of damage, and her advantage state is broken. Yeah. So that it just starts snowballing.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. She's a very heavy snowball character.
Yeah, and like as long as you're on point reacting, but the one thing I do want to point out, and we were talking about this on the drive home the other night, was the option to kind of be able to switch to Pyra when maybe the nerves are a little too much. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the human side of things.
Yes,
right?
Yes. It's a very like interesting like dynamic that you have to have with the character, because it's like my Pyra is really bad. It's like my I'll definitely say that my Mythra is like miles ahead of my Pyra, because I just like invest time more into Mythra than Pyra. But it's like it's a specific thing where it's like whenever you're in bracket, like it doesn't really matter as much, because like at some point, if it's like even if it's not like last hit scenario, if it's just like a stressful scenario, I can just switch to Pyra, and then they get even more scared because they're like, I can die early, or it's hard for me to get in against these big hitboxes. Like I can get reversal really hard if I'm off stage and just get down there, because her like down there is really big and can 2-frame like easily. Like it doesn't even 2-frame. Sometimes it just like hits people like under the ledge.
Yeah, you like 5-frame them.
Yeah, 5-frame them.
Yeah, like so whatever. Like you're not even close to the ledge.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting dynamic, because whenever you're stressed, you can kind of just like switch to Pyra and just like play it safe.
Right.
But like also whenever you're like very confident, you can just like keep having your opponent in disadvantage with Mythra. And it's like I kind of related it to Tweak's Diddy Kong, because it's like Tweak's Diddy Kong also has like a similar dynamic, because he can play like very like dynamic with his Z catches and everything, but like when it comes down to it, if he's very stressed, he can just banana shield.
Hold shield, banana in hand, like you touch it, Z drop out of shield.
It's pretty much the same thing. It's like he's pressing down B, and like the game just changes. He just grabs it, shields.
Yeah, there's a very simplistic approach to it, but you also have like the very in-depth, complex stuff if you're feeling confident. But having the option for both within the same character in a bracket match where you don't have to switch between characters for that.
Yes.
That's something very valuable, but that I think a lot of people don't really talk about, right?
Yes.
And I mean, Arsene is like kind of one of those factors
Yes,
too. It's
yeah.
like, oh, I'm kind of getting bodied, but like, oh, my boy Arsene's here. Like,
Yep.
ooh, I can kill this guy at 50
Bro.
now. Like, let's go, right?
Yeah.
Like, it kind of gives you that confidence that you need. And
Yeah.
even when you're playing in bracket 2, there are sometimes where you didn't have the lead and you kind of threw out the Pyra check. Like, you would go Pyra, you'd try to like not really try to approach with Pyra because that's pretty hard, and then like you would just throw out some meaty hitboxes, opponent's still camping, and you're like, all right, like the gig's like, all right, and then you would go Mythra, and then you would
They called my bluff.
right,
They called
exactly.
my bluff.
But like I think that dynamic is very underrated and not talked about as much.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, there's not a lot of characters that you can switch in between battle, right? Like
Yeah.
PT's the only one, but that is way different than
Yeah,
Mythra Pyra.
even then, like PT's like each character is like
Way
you don't-
different.
Yeah, like even like when you're playing Charizard, it's still kind of hard because you're playing like a big character. So it's like
Right.
it's not the same dynamic as Pyra because she's still like skinny and like somewhat mobile because she's floaty too. So it's like she can like be airborne a lot better than like Charizard. But it's kind of different because it's also harder to get to Charizard. Because
Right.
if you're on Squirtle, you have to go through Ivysaur, and like whenever you're switching, like
That extra character.
Yeah, at least good players like are going to be like looking out for your switch and like try to like position themselves to punish you whenever you're like switching.
Right.
And you don't have like the drift, so like you have to like stay in a specific spot when you switch. So
Nice.
it's a lot easier to punish than trying to punish Mythra switching.
Yeah, absolutely. And you keep your air drift and all that
Yeah.
stuff. You don't have like the frame 1 out, but
Yeah.
you have the frame 2 Mythra out, you know, when you
Yeah.
are on Mythra, so that's always nice. So it's a little sprinkle of everything, I feel like, and yeah, I feel like the character is really consistent. I definitely agree with Cosmos where like the character definitely kind of feels like it can have the consistency. The one, you know, crutch is the recovery, but even then the meta's evolving for that. So you know, my opinion of the character always like fluctuates, but I think the worst I've ever thought of the character, even like since the trailer, I was like, I mean, at worst this character's like top 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like just even if the recovery's super gimpable, like we've seen that archetype before. Of,
Yeah.
like trash recovery, insane on stage. Like I know this
Yeah.
formula. I've seen this before. Like
Yeah, it's definitely like as soon as I saw like it was kind of funny because as soon as I saw that like in the trailer that she switched like Pyra switched to Mythra and then Mythra dashed and she moved exactly like Cloud, I was like
it's
boy.
time.
It's
It's time.
time.
The power of anime.
The power of anime, bro. Power of anime.
All right, so I think that'll wrap it up for us. If you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe, of course. Trying to bring as much cool and different content here at Smash University. And I'll have Cosmos's socials and his YouTube and all that stuff, his Twitch, in the description below. You can just hit him with a class dismissed.
How do you do that?
You just say, look at the camera and say class dismissed.
Class dismissed.